My dear friends, welcome to stage 3 advanced piano yoga videos based on my book Transform Your Hands, a complete 10-week course of piano exercises. This stage 3 is the most advanced and the most, I would say, difficult and strenuous stage. But what it can do for you, if you do master this stage, your fingers will become really strong, your stretch will increase, and this particular stage will allow you to play that difficult repertoire which at the moment you may find quite challenging. I'm talking about pieces of Chopin with bigger stretches, Liszt, Rachmaninoff, Scriabin. So if you follow this course step by step, gradually you will arrive to stage 3, and this stage is the stage which is going to make the magic happen. Before I get into the details, as always, as with every stage, I want to give you an overview of what this course is about and a little history, how it happened. So initially, as you know, for those of you who were doing stage 1 and stage 2, you know that these were the main part of the book, and these were the main exercises which allowed me to stretch my hands and to play Rachmaninoff Rhapsody. And I was working on them maybe for 5 years or so, and then I simply got bored. Because I was thinking, okay, I need something more, I need something more. I also felt that my hands were developed and I was ready for the next step. And this is how the idea of doing something else, something a bit more advanced, but based on this method, because I really wanted to be true to this method, to this way of playing. So this is how the idea was created, to create advanced piano yoga. And as you know, those of you who do this, who are doing this whole course or who playing with the whole book, only after I've done advanced exercises, I've created a beginner's stage, foundation piano yoga. But coming back to this, so the advanced course is definitely absolutely will suit advanced players and some intermediate players. And I want to say that I would not recommend you to do this stage. If you just take this stage and ignore everything else in the book, it will be a bad idea. Because again, it needs to be performed with the same manner as all the other exercises. Which, what does it mean? Playing with straight fingers, with engaged bridge and engaged proximals. So again, for those of you who've done all the exercises, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I suggest you do the stage 1 and then stage 2, and even the foundation course where I introduce the main principles of piano yoga, which then you'll be able to incorporate into this. So number 1, to do the advanced piano yoga, I would suggest please do all the previous stages. If you think that you've done them in the past and really want to do stage 3, maybe you can try to do it, but make sure that your hands are warm. They already feel quite stretchy. And then again, that you know the main principles of the method, because if you play it with traditional technique, it's not going to be that effective. You can do other exercises. And so that's number 1. Number 2, with this stage, what is very important is difficult. So don't be discouraged if you start playing and you would play, let's say, the first exercise, maybe only 1 octave, and you suddenly feel, oh, I'm really tired. That's absolutely fine. Even when I created those exercises, I couldn't play them straight away. It took me a while to build my strengths. But this is what's so beautiful about our body, that we build the strengths gradually. We let the body open up, and then it can play for you and you can do the stuff which you couldn't do before. So I would suggest you do maybe one. First of all, I definitely recommend do it with separate hands, and do maybe 1 octave or 2 octaves. Just see how you feel before you embark on the whole thing. And please, by all means, you cannot, absolutely cannot force yourself to do it. You just only do what you can. And also it's fun because you see, what can I do today? And then come back tomorrow and think, oh, maybe today I can do a bit more, and then a bit more, and then a bit more. And then you would see that finally you can do the whole stage 3. Stage 3 consists of 6 exercises. So in the previous stages, we always had 7. This one has 6 exercises. And what's interesting about it is based on the same idea of sevenths. So diminished sevenths or minor sevenths with minor triad, minor sevenths with major triad. But what I also wanted to do, I wanted to make them quite quirky, and some of them say they sound like a little studies. Some people say they sound like a little pieces by Philip Glass. So I introduce a lot of, for example, one of the examples, a lot of interesting accents. So like so stuff like that, or stuff like that. Again, you can incorporate it, or you may decide not to incorporate it. At the beginning, of course, practice and do what you can, what within your means, but it would be nice to introduce the accents because it's just much more fun. The third thing I wanted you to think about is about your wrists, because this is where the stretches can be quite difficult. So for example, if stretch is too much for you, for example, so left hand, it's absolutely fine to move your wrist to the left and to the right. It's not a problem at all. So I would highly recommend that you do it and you rotate the wrist accordingly. And again, we talked about wrists before, and because wrist is basically what will allow you to stretch. And then it's up to you to decide how much wrist you want to use and how much stretch you want to use. But in any case, I would say don't force anything and go with a natural flow, because in yoga, the art of yoga is the art of that balance. Because on the one hand, of course, we want to push ourselves, because if we don't push ourselves, how are we going to progress? On the other hand, we have to protect ourselves, because if we push ourselves too much, you know what's going to happen. You may pull something, or you might have an injury. So everything has to be done with mindfulness and in moderation. Speed-wise, I suggested certain speeds there, but again, interestingly enough, that I just demonstrated quite quickly, but the slower you go, the harder it is. It is an equivalent of like walking with the weight, but really slow, when you walk with real weights. That's kind of the same, but walking with your fingers. So again, you can decide how fast, how slow you want this to be. Ideally, you want to do everything to be legato, because if you do stuff legato, then of course you will stretch the distance between your hands much, much better. So if you pay attention to all these things, all these points, and spend, I would say, between 2 to 3 weeks on this stage, you would notice a massive difference in your playing, and I'd be very interested to know what you think. I don't know where you're watching this video, on Vimeo, on YouTube, on our website. Of course, if you have any questions, please do send them to me. You can leave them underneath the video, or you can email us through our website, and then I will make sure I address them. Some of them I address in a video form so that other people can see. But these are the exercises which I think it's like a culmination, speaking in the music language, is a culmination of the whole method. It's a culmination of the whole book, and I absolutely love them. And these days, when I want to really work on my technique, what I do preliminary, just straight sevenths exercises. Then I do stage 1 for small hands. Then I do stage 2 yin yoga. And then I do stage 3 advanced piano yoga. And once you master the whole thing, once you master the whole method, so once you master this, and if you really want to maintain your practice, if you want to improve your practice, if you can do the whole book, and in general, it takes about 40 to 45 minutes. If you want also to include some people who do everything very diligently, they also include the stage 1 exercises for large hands. Then it will take you about an hour. But if you just do what I mentioned, so preliminary, stage 1 for small hands, stage 2 yin yoga, and stage 3 advanced piano yoga, you really notice a big difference. Again, what will happen, not only your stretch will increase, but the strength of your fingers will increase, especially in this bottom part of the fingers, proximal phalanx. Why do we need it? Because you'll be able to play chords, you will be able to stretch for bigger stretches, but also you'll be able to control sound and play something like with, for example, if you want to use only tip, you will be able to use a tip and you'll be able to create soft sound. If you want a little bit more staccato, something like Scarlatti music, again, it will allow you to do that, so you'll be activating this part of the fingers. So without further ado, let's start working on these exercises, and as always, we're gonna do one exercise at a time in each episode, and I will definitely will be talking about doing it with separate hands. And then you can decide whether you just want to watch it and then do it in your own time, or you can actually, because we're producing it on Vimeo, so you can do it together with me, and we can decide, and you will be doing it together when I'm doing these exercises. So I'm very excited, and let's embark on the journey together.